Okay. Hello everyone. Namaste, Vanakkam, Vandanam. BhalaKumar here from Chennai, and I'm an MBA graduate from IIM Bangalore, and I'm currently working as a city lead for Smart Clean Technologies. And I'm also a certified yoga instructor, and I love contributing to this wellness space. And so here I am as a volunteer with Tava-Mitram, and I would like to extend a warm welcome to everyone who has joined us for the session today. And before we kickstart our session, I would like to quickly share with you, all of you, about what Tava-Mitram is all about. So, Tava-Mitram is a not-for-profit initiative that aims at raising mental health awareness across the globe. So the idea took shape in 2015 and was founded on 15th of June 2016 by Dr. Paras and Ekktaa. And we are a team of roughly about 50 members consisting of Mitra coaches and volunteers who work towards on a mission to make people realize that the power to make change lies within each and every one of us. And this year, in the month of May, we launched a knowledge based video series, My Mental Health, My Priority, that aims at spreading mental health awareness at no cost. And so far, like 6,400 registrations as we speak across the globe, and the participation still continues. And on the occasion of the World Mental Health Day, so we announced the launch of Tava-Mitram in Hindi, and we'll keep you posted about it as we further progress on that front. And so 10th October being the World Mental Health Day. So in the month of October, Tava-Mitram is running a campaign called Mental Health Matters, which consists of series of panel discussions. So today we'll be having an interesting discussion on the topic, My Body, My Mind, Nobody's Area of Expertise. So I take this opportunity to introduce the moderator for today, Dr. Paras. Let me have him on the screen, please. Dr. Paras, can we have you on the screen, please?
Hi, I'm sorry, there is a little network glitch.
Not a problem.
Hi.
Yes. Hi, Paras. Thanks for joining us. Let me quickly introduce Dr. Paras. So, Dr. Paras is the co-founder of Tava-Mitram. He has over 16 plus years of experience in life, executive and leadership coaching, mentoring, and behavior training intervention. And he ranks number 7 as a master certified coach in India at the age of just 33. And he has founded Dr. Paras Wellness that deals with leadership training and coaching interventions. So he conducts various certification programs like NLP, mindfulness practitioner, coach certification, hypnotherapy, psychotherapy, and counseling. And he has won several awards, and to name a few, he has won Global Coach of the Year at EMCC Global in Paris, June 2019, and Young Leader Award from ICF in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, USA in June 2018. Thanks for joining, Paras. A very warm welcome to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bala, for being with us and doing a great job for all of us. Thank you.
My pleasure. And so let me introduce to you our first panel member, Anandana. Can we have Anandana on screen?
She's there.
Yes. Yeah. Namaste, Anandana. So Anandana is a chartered accountant by profession, but she has been following her passion of health and wellness. She is a certified yoga instructor and a nutritional advisor, and she wants to make a difference in people's life by showing how easy it is to live a simple life and take care of your health, and also be able to do things gracefully while living each and every moment happily. And as the name suggests, Anandana. Thanks for joining us, Anandana. A very warm welcome to you on this panel.
Namaste. Thank you, Pala, and thank you, Dr. Paras, for welcoming us on board. And it's a pleasure to be associated with Tava-Mitram. It's exactly what I feel about it. Mitram is a Sanskrit word, and that's what I have my Insta page as Yoga Sadharma Anandana, which is where we
Wow.
connect. So I'm glad to be a part of this association and in connection to today's topic, it's something what yoga also says that this is our own self journey, and uh, talking about my body, my mental health is going to be my own journey towards the self realization of each and everything. So I completely correlate to this and hope that everybody else here is also able to understand that it's going to be our own journey in this, and we have to be mentally prepared for this and not worry about whatever anybody else thinks about us in any form. So happy to be a part, and namaste.
Thank you so much, Anandana.
Thank you. Thank you very
And
much.
it gives me an immense pleasure to introduce the second panel member for the session today, Vijayalakshmi. Let me have her on the screen now. Yeah. Thank you, Vijayalakshmi, for joining us for the session today.
Hey,
Uh,
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. So let me quickly introduce Vijayalakshmi. So Vijayalakshmi is a master certified coach and an experienced management consultant and a certified systemic and team coach. Her coaching specialties include executive leadership and wellness coaching. She's a multifaceted management professional with over 20 years of experience in consulting and human resources and a background in law and accredited mediator. And she's the president-elect for ICF Chennai chapter, and she's passionate about all things on sports and fitness. She's a certified SFG kettlebell and UFM movement instructor, and she believes coaching can support individuals in their wellness journey and contributes to creating a healthier planet one person at a time. A very warm welcome to you, Vijayalakshmi. Happy to have you on this panel.
Thanks, Bala. Pleasure to be here with all of you today.
Thank you. And okay, and I take this opportunity to introduce our next panel member, Payal. So she'll be sometime delayed for this call. Payal is a fashionista by choice and a writer at heart. And Payal is a Pune-based city blogger and a brand influencer. She can be seen on boarding of multiple popular malls and is a brand ambassador for unseen fashion and lifestyle brands. And she finds inspiration everywhere, loves poetry and reading, and she's a trendsetter among her peers and friends. So she'll be joining us for this discussion in some time. And yeah, let me introduce to our next panel member, Matin. Can you have Matin on the screen, please? So we are facing some technical glitches on our side due to some network issues. So it should be sorted in some time. Yes, it's getting sorted out. Yeah, here we have Matin. Matin is an advanced fitness coach with Fitter, having physically transformed over 1,200 people officially and a few thousands unofficially in the last 4 years of his journey. And apart from that, like he's a software engineer and an entrepreneur, and his hobbies include bowling, staying fit, perfume making, and watching TV series. Thanks for joining us, Matin, and a very warm welcome to you for this panel discussion.
Thanks a lot, Bala, for that welcome. And I'm really excited to be on this panel because it's a very important topic which I face on a day-to-day basis. And that's, yeah, I mean, it will be an interesting discussion. So I'm looking forward to this.
All right. Thank you, Payal. Yeah. And yes, and let me introduce to you our final panel member, Ekktaa. Can we have Ekktaa on screen, please?
Hi, Ekktaa.
Yeah, here she
Hi,
is.
namaste.
Hi, Ekktaa, namaste. And so let me quickly introduce Ekktaa as well. So Ekktaa is the director of Dr. Paras Wellness and the co-founder of Tava-Mitram. So she holds a master coach certification from ICF USA and master practitioner from EMCC UK. She's an NLP practitioner certified by Richard Bandler. And one of the uniqueness about her work is that she blends astrology and coaching and offers spiritual coaching services. So she has roughly 10 plus years of experience in training and close to 7 years of experience in the coaching field. And she is woman on a mission to inspire the self, empower others, and transform generations by bringing in congruency in thinking, feeling, and action. Thanks for joining us, Ekktaa. A very warm welcome to you on this panel discussion.
Thanks, Bala, for that wonderful introduction. And I look forward to have a wonderful discussion with all my fellow panel members. Thank you.
Yeah. And without further ado, I hand over the control to Dr. Paras to take up the further proceedings.
Sure, thank you. Just want to check with everybody. Are you able to hear my voice?
Yes.
All good, Paras.
Okay, thank you and namaste. I'll be going off video for a while because of my network has been fluctuating very badly. So please forgive that, but I'm sure we can all see you. So first of all, a warm welcome to all the panel members. Request each of the panel members to say a few lines before we move ahead with our discussion. I would like to start with Vijay and then Anandana and then Matin and finally Ekktaa. What is something that resonates to you with this topic? We can start with
Thanks,
Vijay.
Thanks, Paras, for offering me to share, share my context as to why I'm here today. Gratitude to you and Tava-Mitram for, I think, calling me over for this conversation. I think as Bala was very generous with that introduction, I'm very passionate about wellness, apart from the other things that I do in my life. And I look at wellness very holistically, that it's not unidimensional, it's multidimensional, and it takes a whole person approach, which is why I think the body and the mind go so much in tandem as we understand how well or how not we are. And so this whole title of saying my body, my mind is actually very powerful, because it simply says that you take ownership for whoever you are being today at this moment of time. And I think the topic which we are exploring today, which is all about saying that these two are really nobody's area of expertise but my own, and the whole topic of body shaming, I think is a very relevant, not so talked about, and yet a very real topic. And I encounter references to this with my clients who I work with. And so I'm hoping I can share a few perspectives and also learn from other multidimensional perspectives from this super talented panel. So yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, G. And I really like the way you talked about centering towards self or anybody else validation so much. And have Anandana, please, to share your thoughts.
Namaste, everyone. So firstly, I would like to thank Tava-Mitram for giving us this platform and we being able to share what we go through on a daily basis, especially on this front. So being a yoga teacher, I encounter similar issues on a daily basis. So people feel that body shaming is more important to them rather than taking care of their own body themselves. So that's what yoga teaches in a lot of perspective, that we need to understand that this is our own self journey, and body and mind, as rightly mentioned by Vijay, is a part of that journey of realizing our own self. So I completely resonate with this and happy to be a part of this. And as we move forward, we're going to discuss further and have more perspective from everybody. So namaste and thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Anandana, for bringing that thoughts. So over to you, Matin.
Hi everyone, and thanks, Dr. Paras and Ekktaa, for inviting me over here. So basically, I think what we'll discuss mainly in this session is many people don't even understand that body shaming exists. That is something that the awareness is something which is lacking. So people will go on and do body shaming, and they'll not even realize that they are affecting, they're affecting someone else permanently. So it is definitely a need of an hour to discuss this topic, and I'm glad that we have set up this session, and I'm looking forward to discuss and learn from other panelists as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Matin. How about you, Ekktaa? Ekktaa, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. So I would like to say, thank you for this wonderful opportunity of, sitting on the other side of the chair, that is, being a panel member. So to begin with, I would say, something that I value most is care, compassion, and contribution. So Paras, let me thank you, Team Tava-Mitram. We are a team of around 60 people. So Team Tava-Mitram, thank you so much. We all have come up with such amazing topics and, creating this ensemble of various thoughtful discussions through this drive of, mental health matters. This is a wonderful, thoughtful move, I would say, for the month of October because of World Mental Health Day, which was celebrated on the 10th of October. And like Matin mentioned, I completely agree with him. It is the need of the hour that we all individuals relook at the system that we belong, question the biases, and bring a wave of change in the mindset of self and the society we belong. I would say I have started my step towards the same when we collectively started this platform, a systemic approach to address the pressing issues like body shaming, like various other issues that we are picking up in this particular month. I would also like to extend my thankfulness and gratitude to all my fellow panel members who agreed to become a part of this panel discussion. This takes a lot of time, a lot of efforts, and I really, really appreciate that. because such topics, they need unshamed conversations. So I look forward to co-partner with all of you, and let's have a wonderful discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ekktaa. I also have Payal with me. She has joined. Hey Payal, how are you? Good evening.
Hi, good evening, Dr. Paras. I'm extremely sorry for my late arrival. I was just caught up in something. Thank you so much for having me
Thank you. It's an honor to have you as
here
well.
today.
And thank you. Thank you so much, Payal. So thank you everybody for sharing your perspective. Let me open today's session. Today's topic is My Body, My Mind, Nobody's Area of Expertise. It revolves around body shaming. I first decided to find the meaning of body shaming and Googled it. And what I found was body shaming is the act or practice of subjecting someone to criticism or mockery for supposed bodily faults or imperfections. As I read the meaning, something in me questioned this meaning. Questions like, do we have a defined set of bodily perfections? And how does one decide what is perfect or imperfect to define external appearance? Does a human being have control on he or she can look, subject to height, weight, maybe some kind of speech impediment, physical ailments, eating style or walking style? And it is so easy for someone to comment in a spur of a moment without realizing what impact it may have on an individual's emotional, mental, and psychological state. Body shaming is an unpleasant reality that many face again and again in their lives. My thought is in one line would be, you're not ugly. Maybe the society fake preferences are. Let us start fixing the thoughts. Today I'm inviting all panel members and audience to talk and engage and share your experiences. Address the shame, facts, experiences around body shaming, and understand where do we move ahead from here. But before I could reach to panelists and ask them about their thoughts, maybe I would like to ask everyone, the audience who is watching us, please share yes or no your thoughts wherever you are. The question is on the screen for all. The question is, what size, weight, or height? If the answer is yes or no, feel free to share with us. The question is, were you ever criticized for your looks, weight, or height? You can find that on the screen. Okay. The next question is, do you worry about how others think of you? Do you worry of how others think of you? And I know these are very, very full spaces for you to, even if you do not answer here, maybe ask yourself. And now I'd like to check with my panel out here a very interesting question. To everyone, maybe first 20 seconds, what does body shaming mean to you? What could be the reasons that people criticize? I would like to ask Matin, Anandana, Payal, Vijay, and then Ekktaa.
Okay, so I'll start with something. Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
So
yes,
I'm
very...
going to start with something which is very prevalent in my field, So people will get transformed physically, and I know when they lose weight or they lose body fat, they are being fit shamed. So there's a fit shaming is something I feel is a part of body shaming as well. So they'll get comments like, "Oh, you look so thin. You have lost all the glue and all those things." So yeah, fit shaming is something which is becoming very common now. The traditional body shaming which we know is there, definitely there, but this is something which is troubling a lot of people. After getting fit as well, they are getting comments like, oh, you don't look good, you don't look fine, you have lost a lot of weight. uh, so it's very confusing for a person to I mean they stay confused, like what should I do, like should I lose weight, should I gain weight, what exactly. So yeah, that's something which,
And how about Anandana?
Okay, so I feel that in this context, we forget who we are, and we just try to be more hypocritic and diplomatic at the same time, but by just trying to show ourselves good on the outside, but we forget about our inside. So we just want to look good, but not feel good. It's just about how others think about us rather than what we think about ourselves. So according to me, body shaming is actually apparent with everybody. Each one has their own thoughts, but they only want to convince and show others that they look good, but they don't bother about thinking about their own self and how they feel about themselves, more importantly.
Thank you. Vijay?
Yeah. I think I would say, very fundamental kind of question, right? I know you did mention the definition of body shaming. I just want to talk a little bit about where it stems from. I think it stems from two things that I want to talk about: bias and stereotype. Yeah, a society is filled with stereotypes about how a man should look, how a woman should look, how a child should be, how a pregnant woman should be, how an old person should look or should not look. I think there are many of these stereotypes, many judgments. So I think it comes from a space of being very judgmental, the very concept of shaming anyone, leave alone body shaming, right? There's also a concept called mind shaming, which is another terrible thing to do, but that's not the topic for today. So the whole point of shaming itself comes from prejudices, judgments, and stereotypes which are there in society, which allows us to believe that there's only a certain way somebody can be and look. And these biases are so ingrained, and I think like Anandana was talking about, often we shame ourselves and we don't even realize that's body shaming. It's not so much about what somebody says about you, but when you look at yourself in the mirror every morning or whenever you look at yourself, do you see this wonderful human being in front of you, or do you just see the flaws? Depending on how you have got conditioned in your own mind. So body shaming manifests at three levels. One is about being unduly judgmental or critical about somebody, to their face. The other one, which is equally bad, is to do it behind them, behind their back. And the third one, which is the silent killer, is doing it to yourself. All three equally bad. Yeah, I'm done with my introduction of body shaming.
It looks like a network issue here, a technical glitch. So let me start. The question was asked was, what does body shaming mean to me? So if I have to say, body shaming to me is like what Paris had mentioned, I would like to add into that. It's like mocking someone for their individual appearance. So be it shape, be it size, be it color, it can be many other aspects. So it's mainly the physical attributes. So as you asked what it means to me, or as I was asked what does body shaming mean to me, I would like to share my own experience here. And that's, I would say, it's okay to talk about my own experience on this platform, I'm sure. Right from the child, as I was a child, I was always on the plumpy side. I was always a healthy child. I would say, so-called the fat version of myself. So the constant reminders that was given to me at the age of 10 or 11 was that I need to lose weight. I remember going on holidays, going to my relatives, and I was constantly told, what, you're very fat and you need to reduce your weight. It's not good. There was a constant comparison between me and my cousins with respect to my height, with respect to my weight. I still remember one of the messages that was given in front of me to my mom. You know what? Your daughter really looks older than her age. I think you may have to get her married at a very early age. And that was something that stayed with me for really, really long. Yeah, and further to add, boys in school, they used to mock me on being fat. So I did undergo, fat shaming and body shaming issues. And as I think about it, because of the awareness that I have right now, I would say back then there was not so much of awareness about fat or about body shaming issues. It was just considered as a joke. One would just mock easily and say, I was just joking. People were also mocked for wearing spectacles or having speech issues. Were also mocked for walking in a particular style. I've seen this all around me. So I would say, several factors like, constant messages from the environment, made me feel really unwanted. I felt I'm not likable. Honestly, I started doubting my own looks. And trust me, my self-esteem lowered to a larger extent. I was a person who used to win, first prize or second prize in elocution competition. But after my 7th standard, I was around 12 or 13 years old. I remember I was unable to participate in elocution competition at all, because since then I carried the fear of judgment that was installed in me big time. And due to these constant reminders from my immediate environment, I started believing that I am not good enough and I don't look good. So for me, body shaming is something which is extremely horrible, and it really impacts an individual's mind to a larger extent. It leads to self-doubts. It leads to self-criticism. The decision-making capacity of an individual also lowers, because the constant chatter that happens within the mind, the constant negative chatter that happens within the mind, it somewhere lowers down your decision-making capacity as well. So body shaming to me definitely is a very, very horrible thing that one could undergo. So thank you for listening to me. It is something which was my space, and if you could resonate with my space, you can definitely let me know in the comments as well. If you have undergone something like this, I would love to hear.
Thank you so much, Ekktaa. I think taking cue from you, I would say I have undergone very similar issues as a child. I come from a family of extreme good lookers. I'm the older of the 2 siblings. And my sister, in comparison, was always more prettier, more organized, more aware of her entire persona. My parents never differentiated amongst us, but like you said, Ekktaa, very rightly, there is something which is our immediate environment, which is our close family and relatives. And I was always often touted as the black sheep of the family. I was often told things like, will she ever get married? Will she ever find a good home? And I also come from a traditional family, and, my parents would always try and, support me. But every time there were issues like, when the relatives would come over and things like that, there was always that societal ingrainment, that comparison would always set in, which lowered my self-esteem completely. I did not know how to confront people. I was not able to even come to terms with my own personality. I would always struggle to be more confident about myself. So I reiterate, I personally genuinely believe that nobody hurts, especially your loved ones, intentionally. So probably the reasons for body shaming is often very societal. They're so ingrained because we need to look a particular shape or a size. So everybody believes that if you're not like that, you are different. And if you're different, you are not, good enough. And that is what I started believing about myself, that I could never probably do anything right. And this definitely impacted my mind, my body. And there was so much upheaval in my growing up years, in my teens and my preteens, that I would always be struggling about, finding that right balance to get on in life, So definitely, body shaming starts off really early, and it can leave disastrous impacts even later on in life, which I feel, one needs to address in the correct and most effective manner, so that you are able to be more appreciative of yourself and of others around you. Because let's face it, we are all unique. There is no one person. If our thumbprints aren't similar, how can we be similar as personalities, be it our shape, size, or color? So that's it from my end.
Thank you, Payal, for sharing that. And I would just like to also bring Matin back in the room here. Thanks, Payal. And Matin, you also talked about elderly shaming. Do you want to throw some light on that as well?
Yes. So I'm sure a lot of people in the audience can resonate with this. That you're seeing a lot of relatives, a lot of elderly relatives in your family. They'll always body shame you in a way or other. I mean, it's something that will instantly click you, right? They'll always say, "Oh, you look." It's something very prevalent among elders. That is my point. So no matter how they appear, but they're gonna just pass comments on their looks, fitness, or whatever it is. When it comes to my own personal experience, I was extremely thin. When I started off like years back my fitness journey. To be very honest, I was never fitness shamed, but I was looks shamed. I was told that I don't. I mean, I was that happened long back when I was in school. So even of course, it was done by a kid. It was done by by someone who's younger and probably has no clue what he is saying. But that has impacted my way of thinking on how I look into the mirror for a very long time, and it took like a lot of years to come out of that. And yeah, that happened. That actually changes a lot of things. So body shaming, again, right from kids to elders, anyone can do it. So that is my entire point, that anyone is capable of impacting someone's psychology that way that it damages them permanently.
Absolutely, and I think today it has become people have become very less sensitive towards this. Though there is other group of society where people are learning and become acknowledging, but a huge chunk of people at different age groups are feeling so comfortable to pass comments at any generation. So thanks so much, Matin. And I'd also like to bring Anandana here. Anandana, I would like to know from a gender lens, do you want to share something on body shaming?
Yeah. So I live in the UK, okay, and I see this very evidently that this is more gender related as well. So I see a lot of pre-teens to about 20s, the younger guys, they would always look at a girl in the same way as in our country. So it's not that it's just in our country, India, but it's here as well. So it's always the boys who look at the girl from top to bottom. But have you ever noticed a girl actually look at a boy and say, "Oh my God, look at the clothes he's wearing"? It would be very, very rare. But this is not how it works. It's always a boy who looks at a girl, and that leaves a lasting impression like most of my panelists said, in the growing years, you always have this coming up with you, and the girl always feels that somebody is checking me out, and I need to wear things well, I need to be dressed well, I need to put this on. So even when you grow older, that stays with you, and hence, we try to put everything on and try to hide whatever we can. So that's another part of our daily going through the body shaming process. So I think this is something we really need to address, and we don't let this bother us. So if you think you've gone through something like this, the chat is open, and you can throw up your questions and ask us, and we can have a discussion about this. So that was my point.
Thank you so much once again, and I'm moving on to the next question as I'm being mindful about the time. But Anandana, thank you for bringing from different cultures, how at global level, being in your country, how are you experiencing? Thanks once again. I want to bring in this discussion Ekktaa and Payal right now. So maybe I would like to ask both of you, what is the impact of body shaming on human mind? I think this is one of the very important questions that we need to address today. Can I ask Ekktaa and then probably Payal?
Sure.
Over to you, Ekktaa.
Sure, Paras. So we're talking about the impact of body shaming on human mind, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, that's right. That's right, Ekktaa. Please start.
Payal, would you like to take this over, because I am experiencing network issues as in
Okay.
I'm not seeing the screen. Yeah.
Okay, sure. So, thank you, Dr. Paras. Thankfully, today at this stage in life, I can say that definitely there are drastic repercussions on the human mind. When I look back and introspect, my earliest signs or symptoms were extreme rebellion. My early years when I realized that I was not very accepted for whatever reasons, which I was still trying to grasp with and come to terms with, I decided that my only escape route would be to be rebellious. So it was from disobeying my parents on any and every level, to deliberately not studying and getting good marks despite being an A grader, to just shamming at whatever point in life I wanted to do, even getting in and out of relationships because my self-esteem was so badly impacted. My thought would be that before somebody else leaves me, because I'm not capable of love, I'm not capable of marriage or, having a partner in life. So I would just say no, to whoever I was dating at that point in time. I also, kept thinking that going to ever appreciate me. So what is the reason of this? The rebellion would definitely take a toll on me. I was extremely nervous in crowds. I still am at times. I would avoid confrontations. Then came marriage for me and subsequently a child. I got married really early. And I would always think that, the same about me. And since I was so nervous with him, because I was already dealing with these ingrained bodily issues, I was rebellious with him as well. I went into arguments. I would be defensive about any and everything. I would go through extreme guilt phases. I would, either work out, like a maniac, or I would switch off completely because I couldn't sustain this kind of a lifestyle. So definitely these sort of issues, took a massive toll on my mental and physical health. And it took me a while to get out of it, So there were things that I did, and I would be glad to share this with people, who would be interested, because you deal with this on a daily basis and you start thinking that you are, this is part of you, but it is not true, because we all have a right to be unique and individual and beautiful. And there's a lot of self-love and acceptance that, start with here. So that's it from my end. Ekktaa, if you are here, you could please carry this forward.
Sure, Payal. Thank you so much for holding that fort for going first. There's some network issue. I'm so sorry I couldn't take it earlier. So that's a beautiful question about how does body shaming impact human mind. So let's first understand, how does human mind work? Human mind is tender, gentle. It tends to pick up all the negative things very quickly, and also it tends to remember them very long. Certain thoughts that come to my mind based on the experience that I've shared, I would say how it impacts the human mind is, I would say, the need of validation. It rises due to the conditioning that happens by the external environment. So the conditioning, like you're not good enough, you need to look in a certain way, or you need to walk in a certain way. It makes an individual discount his or her own thoughts. It makes an individual discount his or her own ideas. And like I mentioned earlier, it impacts the decision-making skills to a larger extent. The constant chatter within oneself, it delays action. And then a person, sometimes reaches a coach or reaches a mentor or a confidant stating that, my decision-making skills are low and I really, really need to work on them. And let me tell you, some of the core issues that come up at that point of time is that that person has been heavily criticized. That's how the impact of, body shaming, it actually lowers down the decision-making skills of an individual. And from my personal experience that I shared earlier, even today, at times, I tend to seek validation from my own parents, from my own brother. What, do I look good? Do I look very fat? Do I look like my age, or do I look older than my age? That's how the conditioning impacts. Something that was said 28 or 30 years ago, even today needs an answer. That's how conditioning impacts the human mind. The other thing that I would further like to add is self-doubts, self-criticism. It is something that jeopardizes the very own being of an individual. The self-doubts, the critical talks that happens within, it hampers the growth of an individual. Constant comparison makes a person doubt one's own self-worth. Somehow, an individual copes up in the situation. Like for example, when in a situation a person is being told, she is thinner than you. An individual copes up, just by smiling. That's what we call racketing of emotion. But internally within that person, there's deep hurt. And body shaming is something, those wounds, they stay for a very long period and they are really, really deep. Another aspect on human mind is social anxiety. A person actually feels that I don't belong to a particular group due to physical attributes. An individual experiences, the feeling of exclusion. And then one tends to withdraw from being social and, carries a constant pressure that, he or she may not be accepted by the society. So in one liner, if I have to, conclude, the words are a little direct, I would say. People don't just simply decide to hate their bodies. We as in society, we teach them to. So it's high time we create a space of inclusivity, compassion, and unconditional positive regards for one another. And that's where we can make the environment really, really happy for a compassionate one. Thank you.
Thank you, Ekktaa. And I think I resonate a lot more about the shame. When I was given the specs in a very early age, I had two glasses, and there was a fear of shame that, hey, I will be teased in the school, and then my friends would say. So I was behind my parents saying that I want to wear something contacts, or I would just not wear it. Heavy headache, but the heavy headache was okay because that kind of mental trauma to go through, the shame to go away. You'll be teased in school. So much resonates. So thank you so much for bringing that. I'm getting a lot of positive feedback from this particular audience. So one I got from Matin, that I agree with Matin. My personal experience has been similar. Ekktaa, it's very nice explanation, Ekktaa, and thanks so much for there. Again, for Payal, I got a thing. Thanks for being so open story. So I think we're really doing a great work, guys. I'm so very happy to have your support in contributing your thoughts on the same and raising the awareness. Thanks, Ekktaa. On to the next question for everyone. And I would like to, for my next question is to Anandana, Vijay, and Matin. Okay, and my question to all of you here is, can you share your thoughts about impact of body shaming on human body? Like, how does it impacts the human body? So Anandana to start, and then from Vijay and Matin.
Sure. What's trending these days is the fact that all of us want to get fit, and then we start looking at easier options, and we look at whatever is available online, and then we have these lovely apps. The bad thing about these apps that I feel is they only show you good-looking, skinny women, and they don't focus on how they reached that level. So I think it's very, very important to know that each one had their own journey, and that's how they reached there. So the reason that people use this app is so that they don't have to go and face anybody. They don't have to see, and they don't have to show themselves to anybody. So they're trying to avoid that fact of facing anybody. But the app is not really helping. It's actually only just putting it onto them more that they are not able to do or get there because that girl is having a good body, whereas I haven't even reached that level. Okay, so that's one part of the story. The other part is when you reach that level of fitness, people look at you and say, oh, okay, so you're that fit. You would not want to eat most of the junk. That's what happens to me. So if I eat something out of the blue, people come and tell me, why would you eat? You are the yoga teacher. Why would you eat? You can't have coffee now. It's not what a yoga teacher would do. So, at that time, I have to think that it's my own life, it's my own body, and I need to respect. And at that moment, I feel like doing this. So I should just take it and just be happy for myself. I don't have to show this to anybody. I don't have to say that, okay, just because I'm a yoga teacher, I have to be perfect. There's nothing perfect. We've all had our own journey and we've reached there. So the reason that these apps and all also demotivate people and keep pressing the point of body shaming again and again, because people always think that, they have gotten to that level and they're already so good. Why do we need to, get there? And how do we get there even if we do need to? So I think this whole thing also keeps throwing up on everybody's face every single day when they open the app or see things online and YouTube videos and all of these things. So they just focus on that part of the good body and don't show the journey of these people, of how they have actually been through this and come up that side. So that's my point on how it affects our body.
Thank you. Thank you so much once again. And over to you. Vijay, you're on mute, I guess.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, great. So I just want to talk about the impact on the body when there is judgment, and I think there is unkind criticism that is hauled on people. What really happens? I think the first thing that happens is, and I think Anandana also touched upon it, is we land up taking a lot of shortcuts, which is a terrible thing to do. Because I think, Ekktaa had mentioned about the mind, and I say that about the body. Our body is this beautiful, gentle, wonderful thing. That's a creation of God. Yeah, and it goes through so much. It goes through so much of, it takes a lot of load on it, whether we realize it or not, over the years. There's a lot of battering it goes through. If that was not bad enough, when people are body shamed, they resort to taking shortcuts, and taking those shortcuts is never sustainable. It puts undue pressure on the body. So, for example, right, when, and I talk about this, right, in the Indian society, a woman before marriage or during marriage is expected to look in a certain way, well-toned and, pretty, perfect, right? And I'm amazed at the number of pre-bridal packages that are available. Yeah, I mean, if it was not bad enough to go through it from the skin and the beauty point of view, there are these, places that allow you to, reduce those 5 kgs in 45 days and so on and so forth. And even exercise regimes sometimes advertised. And I know, with my experience in wellness and physical fitness, that's just not sustainable, that kind of crash losing of weight. And yet, because of the stereotypes which are there, and this is all subtle shaming, right? Nobody will tell a woman who's sort of getting married to your face, but there is that expectation. And then you go and do these things, you take these shortcuts to get there, and that's just not sustainable. And you're adding on a lot of pressure to your body. That's one. The second aspect I certainly want to talk about, because this concerns me very much, and I will come back to this point a little later in the discussion also, is really where it all starts. It starts at a very young age in the way boys and girls are conditioned. I know Anandana did mention about, it's the fact that the girls who come under a lot of this pressure. But, being a mom of a teenage son and, knowing boys at that age, I can vouch for it that the kind of pressure on boys to grow up too fast, yeah, to be man enough too fast. A 14-year-old, 16-year-old is expected to be, hey, you're a man, yeah? When biologically, that teen, right, is not a man. And not being a man, trying to get the attributes of a man, right? So whether it's just bulking up, there is a natural process of the body. And I, for one, am a huge believer in the benefits of physical fitness. So, even as early, and I don't know Matin's view on this, early as 14, 15 years, if your body is ready, yeah, through a proper assessment, you can lift weights. Weight training is good, especially if you're playing competitive sport and things like that. But not, doing it for the sake of just aesthetics, which is not also bad. But when you do that, when your body is not really ready for it, and again, you're doing it to conform to a certain image, growing up too fast. So boys are equally under pressure, like I think girls are. And that I see, the effect of body shaming, so beautifully manifest itself in bodily stresses at this age, in younger adults, in children, for example. And finally, I just want to leave with one point on this topic, and I'm going to narrate that through an example, right? And, we are having a candid conversation, so I'm going to be rather open. Growing up, and I think even now, women are, again, like boys, expected to, not look manly, right? So women are sort of told to not have a broad chest, yeah, to look petite. Even if you have broad shoulders, you sort of don't puff your chest out because that looks unmanly, right? You look big. So over a period of time, young girls consciously do that. And that immediately affects your musculature, your shoulder strength, and a whole lot of other things which you will realize much later in life. In trying to be small and petite, you're actually messing up with your own body structure. This again I attribute to stereotypes and unfortunately the biases within which we need to confirm right from a very early age. So as much as it affects the mind, it also takes its toll on the body.
I agree with you totally. Thanks, Vijay. So we'll move on to Matin. Thanks, Vijay, once again for sharing your thoughts. Over to you, Matin.
Yeah, so I would like to extend Vijay's point here that people take shortcuts. That's quite true because I've noticed it in my last 4 years of coaching journey that so I always ask them like, why do you want to get fit? Right? So most of them they will be like, oh, I was body shamed by different set of people and all that things. So I asked them like, what did you do when you were going through that phase? So what I learned from them is when you're body shamed, you always want quick results. Like you want to get rid of that feeling, what you're feeling that time, right? So what they start doing is they'll start taking shortcuts. And when it comes to shortcuts, they'll start even taking substances which are banned by the government without prescription. And what it does to their body is it, in some cases, it permanently damages as well. So that is one huge effect which people go through when it comes to taking shortcuts on that lane. Second thing is when it comes to diets, there are a lot of places where I think Anandana also touched upon this, that there are a lot of apps which they'll claim that okay, follow this diet for like 10 kg loss or 30 kg loss or whatever it is. When they start following such things, when they start following extreme diets, what they do is they are going to affect their metabolism on a long run. Okay, so that is, and as a coach, trust me on this when I say this, that when you come back to a coach to get transformed after being damaged to a level that it's very difficult for you to transform. Not impossible for sure, but it's very difficult because it will take a lot of time to improve that damage which you have done in the past, right? So that is the second thing which I would like to put forward. So they go on extreme diets. Third thing is the training. When it comes to training, they'll go to the gym and they'll start all out and they'll go it out with all their energy. And in some cases, they end up injuring themselves, which I've noticed this, and yeah, they will end up injuring themselves when they don't take care of their forms and all those things because they want to get faster results. They'll overexhaust themselves. They'll not recover faster from whatever training they're doing, Zumba or weight training or cardio, any kind of cardio, anything like that. So yeah, these are three major things which which leads to in some cases, like I said, even permanent damages. But yeah, so when you are body shamed, I think people do take these kind of extreme measures. So yeah, I think this is something which I would like to put forward. There are sort of things, obviously, Vijay and Anandana.
Thank you, Matin. And I just would like you to stay here with us. And I'm going to invite Vijay as well as Ekktaa. And I think and Anandana and Payal, all of them here. I just would like to do that. How does social media platform impact body shaming? Which would you like to share your thoughts on the same? Maybe I would like if Vijay would like to go first and by Payal.
Yeah, I think social media and kind of affects it, and if I might say the negative effects for all the positivity it brings in. I think the negative effects, not just on body shaming, but on many things that affect who we are becoming, yeah, as people, even as a society. And that's the power of social media. Today, if sitting here on this panel, we are saying something, there is a huge responsibility because we've been called in here as experts. And unfortunately, I think, in the kind of commercial reasons social media is used, the overall impact on society, the social responsibility, if I might say, the marketing social responsibility, is often neglected. And I would even think sometimes it's not done consciously, but I think, even with marketeers or people who do these things, right, who are advertising products and services and shortcuts and things like that, nobody looks at it in a holistic way. And that's the challenge. So I think education even starts there, right? So let's say when you're talking about, losing X kgs, or let's say, getting laser done for your imperfect skin, maybe you're even thinking that's a great service you're doing to all those people who really are in need for it. But there's always that flip side. And rather than, I think, expecting social media marketeers and others to take that responsibility, I go back to what I started with. Can we sort of take our own responsibility, read the fine print and the not so fine print every time something is put out that just seems too good to be true? And that's the thought I want to leave with. I think we can't do much about this, while of course there is a message to marketeers there. I think we certainly can be more discerning and more prudent about the choices we make. And in that, I think, again, I go back to children. Parents have a huge role, or anybody, right? I think all of us with our families, we have a huge role to play that, to bring out the other side and to guide decisions.
Thank you. Thank you, Vijay. How about you, Payal? What are your thoughts?
Thank you, Dr.
Payal?
Paras. Thank you, Vijay, for sharing your views. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Yes,
you.
Am I point from Vijay today? Because I wish we had the kind of influx of social media that we have today, because I think I would have turned out a much better person and more confident of my personality. Today, I work as a freelance digital strategist and a social media influencer, wherein I take it upon as my social responsibility to talk about being unique as you are and spreading the message of body positivity. And the concept of body shaming needs to be redundant, because we are going so inclusive. Globally, inclusivity is being talked about so much. So it is high time that India should also get there. And we are a culturally rich country. So the fact that we have so many people with so many diverse cultures, as well as different shapes, sizes, colors, there is so much that needs to be spoken about. Everybody has so much to offer in terms of their personalities, in terms of their offerings as a human being. So that is my take on how social media has definitely influenced me. Yes, there is a negative repercussion as well. I think the onus is, like Vijay very rightly pointed out, that if we are being called here, I'm not an expert. I write, on body positivity. I write for fashion on curvy women, but I take it up as a responsibility to write and endorse only on brands that I believe in. To share a small example, I was offered a campaign with a brand which wanted to promote fairness creams, underarm fairness creams, and face fairness creams. And I did say no. It was a lot of money for me, and probably it was good for my brand and portfolio as well to endorse the brand. But it did not seem right, because like Vijay rightly said, that we have to be conscious of what we are taking on to promote, because we are being looked at, we are being continuously looking at for inspiration, for motivation. So if I'm here today sharing my journey, the least I can do, be truthful and honest about what I had gone through, how it has evolved me as a person, what are the I am a practicing Buddhist as well. So my healing journey started almost 10 years back. And today, with my role and responsibility as I definitely feel very privileged to be able to talk about things that mean a lot for me. I know that today I can make an impact so that somebody doesn't have to go through what I did 10, 15 years back. We didn't have social media then. So using it more consciously is also something that I endorse in. I believe that since I'm not an expert, like I said, but I do know that there are some things that would resonate when I talk about my story and my journey. And things like advocating real-time fashion, fashion for curvy women, fashion for women across age groups, colors, size, shapes is what we need to, talk about a lot more, because let's face it, we all are unique. The way I am, Ekktaa cannot be the way Ekktaa is. Anandana cannot be, and same goes for Dr. Paras and Matin as well. We are so different, but together, collectively, we can create that impact. That Vijay speaks of her experiences, I speak of mine, and Dr. Paras, with the kind of support system we can offer, we don't know how many people we are going to be impacting. And as a Buddhist, there are a lot of times when people say that your behavior is always being observed when you're not meditating. So I think that is something which I feel as a social media influencer, and the impact of social media has had for me as a person. I also, conduct sessions for makeover and personality and wardrobe styling. And I do this, all of this gratis, because my aim is here to just spread the message across that, listen, you can live good. If I can look good, because Vijay made a very important point, which I would like to reiterate, that it wasn't just the mind, it was the body as well. I was very petite. I got married and I put on weight. I actually developed a hunch because my body changed. So I still have a hunch. I have chronic back pain because I am not able to be comfortable with my personal structure at the moment. Because I was criticized earlier as well. I'm criticized now as well. Oh, how could she put on so much weight? So I think this is what I want to change, that, your bodies will always change, but self-love and self-acceptance is something that we need to believe in every day. I'm sorry if I overshot my time here. Just, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your heart. Okay, I would probably ask Matin now to share his thoughts about the impact of social media on body shaming.
I think Payal pretty much covered everything, but I would like to extend something which she shared about influencing. Like, so she talked about majorly of the positive influence, which does exist, and that is really nice. There are good positive influences as well, but there are companies out there who actually succeed by body shaming others. I mean, I've seen few influencers, they'll deliberately do it. They know that it's going to affect, and that is why they're doing it, because they know that it's going to affect them where it hits them hard, and they'll come back as a client. The influencers can be fitness influencers, fitness companies, and all those things. And I think one of the best examples, I think, which Payal already shared, is over the years in India, I don't want to name the brand, but there is a popular fairness cream, right? So that is there on television every time, and I think that is the best example of body shaming when it comes to. I think many people will relate as well. That just that you're darker and you need a cream for that to look better is something which has like this fast. So advertisements. So that is like that happened over the years on television, but that is also started happening on social media as well. So yeah, we need to be aware of such things, such companies, such influences, and probably stay away from them as far as possible.
Thank you so much, Matin. How about you, Ekktaa?
Sure, thank you.
What are your thoughts?
Sure. So according to me, social media can have both positive as well as negative impact on human mind. So most of it is being covered by Payal as well as Matin, but I would definitely like to emphasize constant messages from the social media that one needs to look in a certain way. So fantasy of a certain body type is created in human mind. And like Anandana mentioned, the efforts or sacrifices that is needed, that is not shown to that extent. Just as we were talking right now about a fairness cream ad, one would apply this particular cream and would get fairer in X amount of days. And to that they show, a girl is sitting for a boy has come to see a girl, and it's an arranged marriage kind of arrangement, and the girl is not fair. So a bulb is, it was an advertisement of a bulb where the girl looks fair, and immediately the boy says yes and smiles. So I find these kind of ads very judgmental. I find them very, very biased. Why on earth one needs to look just fair to get married? So I told myself, what, I'm not going to compare myself to strangers on television, on internet at all. On the other hand, like I mentioned, yes, there is certainly positive impact as well. There are various health and wellness programs that are, that are being carried out by various entities. Like, Ramdev Baba, he comes up with his yoga program, which is for fitness, mind fitness. At the same time, we have witnessed several transformations by Fitter, which Matin is part of. So these are certain examples which show positive impact on social media. And like Payal mentioned, I completely resonate and agree with her. Social media has tremendous power. So I would say let's give each other, that conditional and unconditional positive strokes and make someone's day worthy. Can bring, a smile on someone's face, telling someone, what, you look really beautiful or handsome. Trust me, it releases a lot of endorphins in the human body because the person is happy, the mind is happier, and it makes a person feel younger. So why not? Let's make a difference today. We all can collectively make a conscious effort to light up someone's day, to make someone feel happy, to make someone feel good about being who they are, unconditionally accept each other. This is something which I feel is the need of the hour. And that's why I say care, compassion is something, if we value the most, we would see much more happier lives around us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ekktaa. In fact, I resonate with you because there was an ad that I saw on Facebook lately, recently, was about the Bobby Brown makeup, and that lady who is the one who created Bobby Brown, she said that many people do not know what to do makeup. What they want to do is how they want to be fairer, or they just put on a lot of stuff. So I think our original skin, whatever we are, can we accept ourselves? And I think what the conversations are, again, gaining a lot from Vijay's context of self-acceptance to self-gratitude. So thanks, it's very nice. So Anandana, what are your thoughts on the same?
Agree with Ekktaa, Payal. We definitely can't do without social media. That's something imperative for all of us at this stage. But we have to see how best we can make use of it. So in terms of fitness, etc., I see that it is kind of exploited at this stage. People want to make the best use, but it is exploited to a larger extent because, again, have people who look good already and are trying to give YouTube videos. Why don't they think that, okay, why not start when we are actually not very healthy and we start our journey from there? Let people see. Why do we have to showcase our good-looking bodies all the time? So, that's one thing. I think it is definitely exploited to that extent. But yeah, it's like a double-edged sword. We just can't do without it. We have to work with it. But like Payal also mentioned and Vijay mentioned, we need to take the positive side of it and work on that much more. So while, I believe, and Matin would agree, that anything related to body fitness, we need to have. So for me also, I'm not very active on social media. Okay, so if you ever happen to find me, say hello, okay? Because I'm not very active. Because I think when I'm working with someone, I'm very attached to that person. I'm making sure that I actually am in this holistic journey of that person in realizing his own self. It's not just about doing one asana and saying, oh, I can do this. I can also show a video. That's not what it is. It's about knowing how your body feels during that time, how you accept your body. Once you do that, be it any size or shape, you're able to do anything that you like. So, I think is the whole personal touch of getting you to from one level to another is lost somewhere in this whole web world that we have. So even while when I teach, I'm not in a hurry to have like 100 students. I just want like a one or two, and make sure that their journey is successful. That one or two people I have made an effect in their life, and I would really be happy to just be there and be a part of their journey and just be happy with that. So that's just my take on social media being exploited slightly on that front.
Yeah, I think by watching this video, many people are going to follow you now. So looking at that, you need to be mindful about that, whether you're really going to be on social media or not. But a very nice message that you're giving it to all of us, uh, that self-acceptance and self-care is very, very important. From this chat, I'm getting a lot of questions. I'm just picking up one question from Matin right now. So Matin, I've got a question for you saying that that being a mental health coach, it is much tougher than the diet and workout thing. And what is your take on that, Matin? So for me, it resonates more like diet, workout, and mental health. They go together. So what is your take on this, Matin?
So that's a very interesting question because again, I think she's asking like my task as a mental health coach, because what happened was I'll tell you one small incident, quick incident. So when I started my journey as a coach like 4 years back, so I gave one of the clients diet and training. 2 months on, she lost nothing at all. Okay. So then I started reading more about it, like what can cause issues for someone who's following the diet and training but still not getting the results. Then I've read a bit about high psychology plays a very important role in this. Again, I'm not certified, so I'm not going to claim to be one. I'm not a mental health coach, but yeah, it's an important part of my job as well to read something about it. So and then it was very tricky because she enrolled for fitness, right, for diet and training, and I didn't want to intrude in her privacy by asking these kind of questions. So I took a leap of faith and asked her, like, are you going through some form of stress? So she said she broke up 2 months back. So I was like, okay, and how are you dealing with it? So I started asking questions. I took help from one of my friends who was a mental health coach that time. So and we somehow, of course, I learned few things from him as well, and then we guided her in a way where she was able to overcome that stress, or probably I would use the word manage. She was able to manage that stress, and she started getting results after 4 months or so. So yeah, that was my learning point. Like 4 years back, I was like, okay, this is something extremely important. It's not just diet and training. If you're stressed out, your progress will be messed up, and that is something, a very important point in my calls these days. My very first call to the clients, that I always check on these areas as well. That, but if someone is like they need a professional help, I always try to redirect them to a professional and not act like be an extreme expert there. So yeah, that is it is a very important factor for a fitness coach as well to understand these things. If not be an expert, but at least be aware. Always ask them like, are you feeling fine and all those things. So yeah, that is my answer. And thanks for the question, Sheila. I think we lost Dr. Paris.
Heavy rain has really led to very, very bad network today.
Yeah.
No, I completely understand one thing. I can resonate with what you just now said, Matin, about how you have to really not only give just diet, you have to really prepare the person mentally. It's just not about giving on diet and an exercise routine. It's also about having that bond and that particular conversation that would help the person mentally accept what the transformation journey he or she would be undergoing. I completely could resonate with what you're saying. Absolutely. You're on mute.
Sorry, I keep going on mute just to avoid static. So connect with what you were sharing, Matin, because in wellness work, right, with clients, especially if there are very specific health and fitness goals, right? It's always a 4-letter word that comes in. So often it will only start with fix the weight or fix the health parameter. But apart from whatever activity or fitness, whatever you want to call it, right? There are 3 other things which is equally important: nutrition, stress, managing your stress, and the most important, which I think we all need to start with, is sleep. Most underrated, right? So it's never just activity and nutrition.
Yeah, so I was also just going to say the same thing. So there are these 5 things that I follow with the client: is proper diet, proper nutrition, sleep well, and have a positive attitude, and drink good water. That's it. It's most important for us to be there.
Yeah. Drink a lot of water is very, very important. That's one of the reasons I keep
drinking water except me.
I know it's a meal and we don't just realize.
There's hot water in it. Shall we? I'm just thinking about, I guess,